Hello guys, this is Kathy with Kincaid Special Creations coming to you with another West Virginia Wednesday. For all the new ones that we've picked up over the last little bit, just want to give you a little bit of a history. Every Wednesday we do a Facebook Live. One of them we call Facebook Live. That's where we show crafts and we show talk about stuff and we bring stuff, to the table. Just to have some. Sometimes we have food, sometimes it's a lot of different things. Hi, Joel. But on Wednesday, on the alternate Wednesday, I have what I call West Virginia Wednesday. Hey, Stevie. Hey, Tim. Hey, Mandy. So today, I'm going to talk about something that is purely informational. I'm not going to endorse any candidate that's running for the state of West Virginia, or federal government for that matter. But I do want to, because I have went to many a primary. Let me set this up from the beginning. When I was 17 and I got married to Tim, a lady that we knew come to the house and she gave me the right to vote. Now this was at 17. Of course I would be 18 by the time the primary went into place. But she didn't give me any information on, you need to go vote at the primary, but you have to vote in the general election once every 4 years or they can take your right to vote away. Well, here comes the general election. I'm 8 months pregnant with my daughter and I'm like, I don't feel like standing in line for a long time to vote, so I didn't. Not knowing that that was going to be a problem. So in January, I get this letter from the county clerk's office that says they took my right to vote away. Well, as soon as Jennifer was able and could, I went straight back over to the Fayette County Courthouse at the voters registration place and asked them why they took my right to vote away. And they told me it was because I didn't vote in the general election. And I said, well, can I get it back? And she said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. You can get it back anytime. So I got it back. And ever since then, I have religiously voted in every election possible. So I just wanted to let you know that when I go into the primary, I don't know half these people. I've never heard their name. I don't know anything about them. So today I'm going to give you their names. The ones that are running in the West Virginia election, West Virginia related national elections, and the ones that's running here in Fayette County. I attempted to find ones in Nicholas County. I couldn't find a list of any of them. So if anybody has that list, you can just pass it on, the link onto the group so they can check out the ones in Nicholas County, because that's where a lot of our people, it's either Nicholas County or Fayette County. My brothers and stuff are out of state, but they can do the same with the people that they have to vote for in their primary. Our primary here in West Virginia is going to be May the 14th. That is the day after my birthday. Yes. So the ones that are running for election here, let me see if I can get in and see if you all got me any comments here before I start into my little talk. So how is everybody today? Was your weather good? It was beautiful, sunshiny day today, I'm telling you. I went yesterday. Yeah, anybody knows me knows I don't like to drive. But I went yesterday, me and Sam went over to Walmart and picked up chicken food, the little pellets for chickens. Fed them this morning. They thought they were in heaven. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I braved getting in the big truck, headed over to Walmart. I parked Sam in the shade under a tree so that he could have some cool while I was in there. I wasn't in there 20 minutes. I went in, got what I wanted to get, got out, come back out, brought him some water. So he was a happy camper. But anyway, every time the door opens on the truck, Sam thinks he ought to be in it. You have to be really careful about what you talk about, because if you say you're going to go somewhere, that's what you better be doing, is going somewhere. He's laying over with his eyeballs watching me now, so I've got to be very careful. Okay. I just got out of the shower if you're wondering why my hair looks wet, because it does. Uh-oh. Let me shut me down here. I don't want two of me talking. That'd be bad. Hey, Tim. All right, so we're going to start out with the governor. Well, of course, we know who's running for president. Pretty much know they're going to be the ones that they select at the convention. And it'll be Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Those are the two. You just have those two, one of the other ones to choose from. So, oh, and Robert Kennedy is also running in the middle vote. So you have to vote for whoever you think is going to run this country the best. The ones running for governor, there's quite a few of them. Some of them I knew because we see the commercials on TV. And heaven knows, for Patrick Morrisey, I've gotten this one, and this one, and this one, and all of these. So, he must be like the front runner. I don't know. But I got a lot of papers in the mail from him, so somebody likes him. Because all that stuff can't come cheap. Anyway, first one is Moore Capito. And whenever I heard that name, I thought of Arch Moore. And he is the grandson of the who was the governor at one time, Arch Moore. I'm not sure who his father is. Shirley Capito is up in the Congress up there, so maybe that's his mom. I don't know. Then there's Kevin Casey Christian. He's a Republican. Oh, Moore Capito is a Republican. Chase G. Linko / Looper. He's with the Mountain Party. I didn't know we had such a thing. But he is. And all this can be found on West Virginia Watch. If you go to www.westvirginiawatch, you can do who's running for office in West Virginia, and it'll give you a paper. You can print it off and look at it and research. That's what I did. I did my research on some of these people, but I'm not going to give my opinion because I don't want to sway anybody's vote one way. Not that I could, but don't want to be accused of trying to do that. I'm just giving you names so when you go to the voting booth, you will actually know who you've heard the name before. You got in there. Chase G. Linko Lupo. Like I said, he's with the Mountain Party. Chris Miller. Chris Miller, you may have seen many commercials on TV from Dutch Miller Auto Group because it says he's the owner of it. He has a lot of interesting ideas, but you'll have to look him up because most of these people have a website dealing with their election, so you can go and read it all for yourself and see which one you think is the best. Patrick Morrisey, which I showed you all the papers I got on him. He's a Republican. Chris Miller's a Republican. Mitch Robert of Polka is a Republican. I didn't know he was running. Andrew Mike Warner is a Republican. And Steve Williams, the only Democrat in the bunch for governor. So, interesting. For the Secretary of State, we have Thornton Cooper, Kenneth Reed, Doug Scaff, S-K-A-F, like in Frank F. Jr., Chris Warner, and Brian Wood. Now that is for the Secretary of State. So, I've heard of these offices. I think the Secretary of State is the one that is primarily over elections. So, okay. Well, hi, Jan. Did you get your phone fixed? Awesome. Good deal. Glad to see you here. Hi, Dweena. For State Auditor, there is Caleb Hanna, a Republican, Mary Ann Robach Clater, a Democrat, Eric Householder, a Republican, Mark Hunt, a Republican, and Teresa Jackson, a Republican. So, those are the ones that's running for State Auditor. State Auditors handle our money. They make sure it's all going where it's supposed to go. State treasurer is the one that actually signs the bottom of the check, I think. And Larry Pike is the acting state revenue secretary, and he's the one running for state treasurer. Commission on Agriculture, which is something I would like to know a little bit more about, because they are the ones that control the regulations and stuff for people that like to farm, and sell their egg. Like if you want to sell your eggs or your milk from your cow or your meat that you process, they have a lot of regulations on that. So it would be interesting to see if somebody streamlines that so you would know the regulations instead of you learn the regulations when you start all that stuff up and then they change them to 2 weeks after they get in office, and then file charges against you because you did something you didn't know because it wasn't on the rules when you looked at it. That happens a lot in the government. Anyway, for the Commissioner of Agriculture, it's Kent Leonhardt, Roy Ramsey, and Josh Hickenbottom. Okay. And for the Attorney General, which I think is our main lawyer in the state, it's John J.B. McCuskey. Richard, he's a Republican. Richard Robb, R-O-B-B, is a Democrat. Mike Stewart is a Republican. Or Teresa, and I have no idea how to pronounce her name. It is spelled T-O-R-I-S like in Sam, E-V-A. So if you want to look up who they are. Okay, for the U.S. Senate, we have a Brian Byrd, which is a Republican, Don Blankenship, which is a Democrat, Glenn Elliott, who is a Democrat, Jim Justice, who is a Republican, current governor of our state, Zane Lawhorn, who is a Republican, Don Lindsay, a Republican, Brian McKinney, Republican, Janet McNulty, hi Linda Kay, is a Republican, Alex Mooney is a Republican, and Zachary Shrewsbury is a Democrat. 2 Democrats against all the Republicans. So we'll see how well that works. They're wanting to be in the U.S. Senate. U.S. House of Representatives in the running is Derek Evans, Carol Miller, Chris Bob Reed. That's a mouthful. Jim Unberger, he's a Democrat. Chris Rob Reed is a Democrat, and Carol Miller is a Republican. Not that any of that matters if you like them. You shouldn't vote just simply if they've got an R or a D. You should vote the person's character in. But be sure you know what the character is. Dennis Nate Kane, Republican. Joseph Joe Early, a Republican. Alexander, and I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name either. It's C-A-A-S, like in Sam, E-R-U-D. He's a Republican. Chris Mookie Walker, a Republican. Riley Moore, a Republican. Or Stephen Wendelin, a Democrat. Like I said, all this is just information for you, so that when you go to vote, these names, if they come up on your thing to vote for, you're not completely not ever heard their name before. For Supreme Court Justice in Division 1, only one person, Haley Bunn, nonpartisan. I guess you're supposed to be nonpartisan if you're trying to be a judge. Supreme Court Justice Division 2 is Charles S. Trump IV. Also nonpartisan. Doesn't say anywhere I read that he's kin to President Trump. Intermediate Court of Appeals, which I had to look up because I did not know what that did. And that is where, when you appeal somebody, it goes to that one, and then after it's done with that, then if you don't like what they said, you can take it to the Supreme Court. Anyway, for the Intermediate Court of Appeals, it's Elgin. Heck, I'm not pronouncing these people's names right. Heceta McArdle. Also, all these are nonpartisan. Like Michael S. Schultz, but it's not spelt with an I. It's spelled M-Y-C-H-A-L. Ryan White, and that's it. That's all the ones in the West Virginia part of it that are running. There seems to be a lot more candidates out. I don't know if some of them will drop out for the actual primary gets here. It's not likely. So be expecting a lot of people on that ballot. So do your research to, if you already know who you plan on voting for, go in and vote for them. That's fine. I just wanted you to know, if you come up on a spot where you don't even know what they are or who they are, and you're just voting for a name that you recognize, at least I'm going to give you 3 weeks that if you hear somebody's name that you want to find out a little bit more information, Google them. Well, everything with the exception of Nicholas County people that are running, I found online. I don't know why they didn't have them. This next one is the ones for Fayette County. For State Senate in the 9th District, it's Christy Cardwell and Brian Helton. For the 10th District, it's Jack David Woodrum. House of Delegates, I'm assuming this is the West Virginia House of Delegates. For the 45th District, it's Eric Brooks. For the 50th District, it's Jerry L. Allen, David Elliott Pritt. I think that's a familiar name to me. Austin L. Haynes. On the 51st District, it's Marshall W. Clay, Dan Hill. I have heard that name before. He used to do some work up the park, I think. Robin Kincaid and Jack Thompson. Circuit Judge running is Thomas Ewing, Tom Fast, Kathleen B. Murphy. For Family Court, there's only one person running for that, and that's Matt England. Fayette County Commissioner is Greg Furnett, Mark Harvey, John G. Janey, Tom Luises, and Gabby Pina. Prosecuting attorney, only one, Anthony Ciliberti. I should not do these, try to pronounce somebody's name. Sheriff is Jess R. McMullen, which I heard good things of, and Chuck Miller. Anyway, Magistrate is Sean Campbell, Amanda Davis, Mark Hurt, Matt Jeffries, Richard Pennell, Sam Parsons, Susie Worley Jenkins, and Anita Young. For Surveyor, it is Jack R. Buda, Robert Ruffner. For Board of Education, we have Joshua Christ running, Myra Taylor, and Cindy Whitlock. Those are the ones that are running in Fayette County. So I can send you the links to these places that I found this information if you want. Just send me an email at KincaidsSpecialCreations@gmail.com. But always try to go in informed. I have spent my whole life just going in, and because of the thing that happened to me when I was young, I just voted. Whatever name stuck out that I could possibly know, whether they were good or bad, I voted for them. So I wanted to bring this to your attention so that if you're thinking about voting, and please do, early voting starts May the 1st through May the 11th. If you can't make it on May the 14th, like Tim, he'll be out of town, we can go over on the weekend, he can vote, and that way we can make the vote count. But just vote. This is a really important election, I feel. So if you can get out there and vote, that would be absolutely wonderful. Now that we got all that out of the way, because that's what I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, was just please vote. I've said this my whole life. Just vote. Don't let them, because they took mine away, don't let them take your right to vote away. Because it's going to be needed. At some point in time, you're going to be passionate about somebody. And if they've already taken your right to vote away, they may not give it back to you. So just be mindful that if you can get over to the courthouse, if you're 18 or older and you go over to the courthouse, go into the voting section and say, I want to register to vote. And you can have that card. I got my card. They sent me new cards in the mail. I still got my old cards. I still got my old cards from the first time that they give me. They ain't getting that. It's not their right to take my right to vote away. That's given to me in the Constitution, and I want to keep it. So, who you vote for is a personal matter to yourself. I can't stress that enough. You can't go into a voting booth and tell somebody else how to vote. They can't tell you how to vote. They can't look over your shoulder. Even the people that are working there, they can't look over your shoulder to see who you're voting for. That is your personal choice. I don't care if you went through town telling 25 people who you're going to vote for and you suddenly decide when you walk in that voting booth you're going to vote for somebody else. Do it. Nobody knows. It is truly your time to shine. Do whatever you want in the voting booth. But just vote. Preferably don't do the mail-in ballots. That way you have to physically show up and sign your name on the card so that they can't say that somebody else voted for you. You did it yourself. Now, there are instances where people can't do that. I understand that, and I agree with that. But if you can, do it. And I'll put my spiel about elections. Can you tell I'm passionate about them? And I always have been. It has nothing to do with the current people running. It has nothing to do with that. Like I said, ever since I was 17 years old, well, 18 years old at that time, and they took my right to vote away from me, you can ask anybody that's around, I have always urged everybody to make sure that they have the right to vote and to use it. So, I'm glad you think so too, Stevie. So, was everybody's weather good today? Mine was good, but I've been trying to bring my power bill down for the last 6 months, 5 months. Our power bill has been over $500. So I'm sitting here letting the heat from the outside where it's heating up that porch heat up the house. I've got the furnace turned completely down. But for some reason I got a chill. And I don't think it's got anything to do with the furnace because it's warming up in here. My hands aren't cold. Could be the fact I just got out of the shower, but I got a little bit of a chill. So I'm going to hunt me up a Tylenol just in case I got a little fever coming on. And see if I can't get warm again. Or lay underneath my blanket. Either way. It was windy up in Summersville, Mandy? I didn't notice the first bit of wind down here. Now, we had the severe thunderstorm yesterday here in Fayette County. First one come through, and me and Daddy was talking on the phone, and then the second one come through. So those two pretty nasty. They had a lot of loud thunder and a little bit of lightning. Wasn't too much wind here. I didn't knock over my greenhouses like it did the last time, but it was still kind of windy. I mean, not windy, but really heavy rain, heavy rain. But it all turned out pretty good today. If you come to live here, brother, you can surely vote in West Virginia. I don't know. Are you still a resident of West Virginia, or are you a resident of Virginia now? I believe if you're a resident of Virginia, I don't think you can vote here anymore. Now, when you was in the service, you probably could, because depending on what your state resident was, they'd send you those little absentee ballots, and you could vote. I don't know how they do it anymore. When I was on the website checking out when the early voting was, it said on there that they needed poll workers. Well, I just sat back and laughed, because I sent my paperwork in last week for several years in a row, several election years. I was right there with them, did everything that they wanted to do. So they sent me a paper and said, do you want to be, serve in the elections this year? And I said, well, yes, ma'am, I do. Now she's complaining because you don't have enough poll workers. Not my problem. It's too late to train me now. So I'll just vote and enjoy it. Now, Timmy, that might be true, but we just want everybody to vote. That's all we want. It's really, they can't use your name. When I worked, there was 2 or 3 that come in, and it said on our roll books that they had already voted, and they were not happy. So we sent them to Fayetteville over to the Memorial Building to talk to the main lady over there, because we didn't know what happened. So I don't know what happened after that, but yeah. Just make sure that when you go in, nobody's voted for you. Because once you put your name on there, once you put your signature on there, it'd be hard-pressed for somebody to pick your name up or change your ballot. But who knows what's going to happen. My fingers are crossed that they let it run its course. 100% correct. But it ain't in my lifetime, and it probably won't this time either. But we're going to hope. So if anybody is out there that cannot get to the poll booth, wherever you're selected to go vote at, mine is over to grade school. If you can't get there on the 14th of May, check with your community to see if they have early voting, and go there and go ahead and vote. 1, you probably won't have to stand in as long a line, and 2, you can get in and get out and get your vote counted without missing a day's work, or have to miss an appointment that you had scheduled for that day, or whatever the reason that you can't vote. Check to do it early. Like I said, according to the paperwork, it is from May the 1st to May the 11th that we can vote. So I figure me and Timmy will go over there either the 1st or 2nd weekend of May and go ahead and get that done and over with. Because, yep, I'm going to vote. Yep. If the good Lord still has me here, if nothing else, I will go over here in town on the 14th and vote. I don't care if I have to stand in a really long line. I'm still going to vote. Because that's important. Now, the primary, of course, we already got designated who the presidential candidates is going to be. But the primary also weeds out the people for governor and the House of Representatives and the Senate, and we need some good people in there. I don't know who the best people. I'm still doing research. I know who I think I want to vote for, but I want to give the other ones, Democrats included, a look-see, just to see what their record is. Because what is said on TV, or even in these papers that you get about somebody, might be a white story, a stretch of the imagination. And you might just fall in love with that piece of paper and say, oh, yes, that's who I want. And that's fine. If that's who you want, vote for them. But, the other, if you're not 100% settled on one person, check the other people out. See if, now there was several, when I checked them out, there's several that are retired veterans. There's one disabled vet that's running. So, they've been through some pretty rough things in their lifetime. So, I don't know, and, the vets go through bad stuff all the time. I don't know if it's of their choice or if the people don't have the information that they need. Just like with me and them giving me the right to vote. They didn't give me any information with it. They just said, here's your little card. Take it over to the thing. Well, I was very young and very pregnant. So I just didn't do it. It wasn't their fault. It was their fault they didn't tell me they'd take it. But it was my fault I didn't go because I was like 8 months pregnant with Jenny. So, now you know. If you watch this show, now you know. They can take you right. I'm assuming they still can. That was a lot of years ago, people. I can't figure that up in my head right now, but it was a lot of years ago. So, hopefully, I take that back. I'm telling you all stories, so let me set it straight. It was in May, just before I turned 18, that she came to the house. But she did not tell me about when, that if I didn't vote in November. And in November, I'm sure Jenny probably was in one of her surgeries. When she was young, she had surgeries every time you turned around because she was born with a cleft lip and palate. But for whatever reason, I didn't vote in that general election and lost my right to vote the following January. But I got it back and have voted ever since. So whether you like the candidates or whether you don't like the candidates, whether you think they're good or whether you think they're bad, go pick the best one of the worst ones if you don't see one that you like real well. Because I just hate to see people not exercise their right to vote. Anyway, I have been on here for 32 minutes, rambling about nothing and everything. That won't happen next time we come into play. I've got another little idea in mind, and we'll bring you some more facts about West Virginia. I already got them worked up in my mind to give you, and it doesn't have anything to do with election. That's done. Enjoy your night, and we will see you next Wednesday for Facebook Live. Y'all have a great night.